Let's read this short program together to learn something about the concept scope. We talked about scope a little bit in the variables lessons. All right, let's read the program. On line 2, it says var points gets 0, which means that we have created the variable points and assigned it the value 0. Then we call the function change points, which we can read down here. We create the variable boom and assign it 5. And then we do something kind of weird, which you might remember. We create the variable points again and assign it 1000. We're going to pay close attention to this line of code in a little bit. Then the function says, console logs, inside the function I have the value of points plus points. The function is over, so we go back to line 5, and it says outside the function I have points. So whatever the value of points is. We would expect this to be the same in both places, but let's run it and see what happens. All right, that was kind of fast, but we can see down here in the console what went on. It says inside the function I have 1000 points. That makes sense because we assigned the value 1000 right before it on line 10, and then on line 11 it said I have 1000 points. But up here it says outside the function I have 0 points, and that makes no sense because we didn't change the value in between here on line 11 and on line 5. Once again, the difference is that variables that are created inside of a function are only available inside of that function, and we can see that with this variable boom. At the end of the program, the watch window is telling us that boom is not available. That's because it was created here inside of the function. And so now that the next line of code has moved on, the program just doesn't know anything about boom. Meanwhile, we created the variable points twice, but because this time we did it inside of a function, the program thinks that you want a new variable that is only accessible here. In fact, your program has 2 variables called points, which is very confusing, and you probably don't want to do it. The best way to change this is to just delete that var command. If we run it again, you'll see that now we're not trying to create the variable on line 10. The program understands that we're talking about the same variable in both places, and so in each case, it says you have 1000 points. Once again, boom is not available, which makes sense because we still are creating it here inside the function. Variables that are created outside of any function are said to have global scope. And scope just means where in the program can you talk about or use this variable. So points you can use anywhere. Boom has local scope, which means that it can only be used inside of the function or on event where it was created. As you're debugging programs, pay close attention to where you're using the var command. There are definitely reasons you would want to create a variable with local scope, like boom, and we'll talk about these more in this class. But for now, keep making variables once at the top of your program and outside of any functions or on events.